Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Keep going.
So, so in that regard, you've now limited the freedom of speech or the rights to free speech of my citizens relative to some other district citizens. So that's a second class. The third class is with regard to the capricious and arbitrary rules around the way amendments can be. Normally, we have a set schedule for when amendments can be passed and not passed. It gives us the ability to work with constituents like you that might actually be engaged in the civic process, looking at a bill, so that you can then reach out to somebody like me or to your representative and then say, hey, I've got specific expertise in this area. I would like to recommend this type of amendment. Well, ideally, then I have enough time to turn that around for you, to work with staff to get all the I's dotted and T's I's dotted and T's crossed. But now they're going to set arbitrary rules for when amendments can be submitted. And I think that's
Well, they're really changing the whole game here, aren't they?
They are.
Under the cover of COVID.
Under the cover of COVID.
And do you see any sort of constitutional challenges coming down the pike on this?
I do.
What can people do?
So I made a big post and delineated these out last night.
Oh yeah.
And I would suggest to share those far and wide. I think ideally we're setting up the stage for people to litigate, to have their rights restored.
Because you got this on the record, right?
Yes.
Okay.
We spoke to it on the floor. It was an interesting paradigm. I mean, typically these days are pretty ceremonial, right? The rules are brought forward from previous decades worth of rules. They're locked in stone, and we've all agreed to them. And so they decided to implement a change. What's interesting is that if you look at the TVW coverage, what you're going to see is that they've already shown that we can gather together safely with COVID requirements, because they instituted this round robin approach where they had different groups of members coming on and off the floor so that they could keep social distancing. But there is plenty of room in that chamber for all of us to be socially distanced.
Yeah.
We could do it in our offices if we wanted to, but ideally on the floor with full transparency we could do it. But what they showed is, if you look at the video, you'll see that on the rostrum they have plexiglass in between the rostrum staff because they physically can't get them 6 feet apart. But with masks and then the plexiglass, why not implement that throughout the whole floor? I'd be okay with that. I'm willing to choose to wear a mask for the safety of my other members if it means maintaining my oath to office. I suggested that on the floor. The Democrats chose the party line vote these unconstitutional rules. And so that was the major event of the day, and then the secondary event was that Speaker Jenkins was re-elected as Speaker.
So, you know, just bringing this down to the ground level, what are people just going to look like now for the, you know, I used to go attend these hearings.
Yeah.
So how am I going to attend the hearing? How am I going to testify in opposition or in support of a particular measure? Well,
You can do it online, and of course what they're saying is, well, we're providing you more access, but make no mistake, when they pull something back and give you something lesser, and then try to bill it as though you're getting something more, it's like McDonald's switching out a Big Mac for a smaller burger and saying we're charging you less. You're not getting the full Big Mac that you want. And in this case, that's what they're doing. A value add, in this case, would have been to allow for in-person gathering, allow constituents and individuals to come be a part of these gatherings like they always have, but then also give them the added option of remoting in. That would be a value add. Not pulling back the in-person in exchange for this and then trying to dupe me into believing I'm getting a better value. At the end of the day, you're going to have some real hard problems with regard to keeping representatives like me or any member of the legislature accountable. The truth is, the people that are watching this right now have no idea who's standing behind this camera. And that's exactly the scenario you're going to get with a Zoom setting. So how do you know that when I'm in committee, that right behind my camera is not a lobbyist with a speech in one hand and a check in another, prompting me how to speak on a bill, giving me cues for how to do it, and if I do it, then hey, here's a. Now they're not going to physically do that because we can't receive a check right now, but you understand the point I'm making. And the point I'm making is,
I'm also concerned just with just the technological aspect of it. I mean, how many of you have students doing the Zoom classes? How do you think that's going to work up here? Is that a concern for you guys?
Yeah, we've already seen that the product has reduced with regard to our kids. And you have teachers and parents more and more screaming to get back in person. It's kind of obvious that they're turning a deaf ear to those calls. Again, there's a way to do this. The truth is we have the technology. And by the way, I'm a software engineer in my real job. We have the technology, we have the logistics, and we have the space to do it right. And really, I think we've missed a great opportunity to unify. The people that are gathered here are gathering because there's a genuine divide among people based around trust. We're not trusting that we're getting a good product with full transparency. We had an opportunity to come together as a bipartisan team and put together a solution that we could have all gotten behind and said, you know what, okay, it's not perfect, but at least I have maintained my rights. At least I have some semblance of transparency and can trust the product. They chose not to do that.
Well, I mean, I think most of the people here are a little burned from what happened last session at, 4 o'clock in the morning. I mean, so we're just, I mean, this is just icing on the cake, so to speak, under the cover of COVID. And, you know, people out here, we're not here because, I mean, this isn't a superficial matter.
You know, the Democrats, it's always Republicans walking out. Not a single Democrat walked out to talk to us. About five Republicans came and talked to us, so where are the Democrats at? Because they're the ones responsible for the lockdowns. They should listen to us, the people, but they're not. And what's up with the riot shields? Because y'all come out here talking to us, so why are they still with the riot shields? Why are there still all these military and police? What are they guarding at this point? It makes no sense.
But I wanted to make one more point, and then I wanted to ask you one more question, and then I'm going to turn it over to Representative Boss. You know, this is not like a team sport situation here. I mean, we've got businesses. I talked to a gal the other day. You know, 27 years for business was destroyed. Yeah. I've had deaths in my family. I have had, you know, my 2 adult children oscillating with the depression because of these lockdowns. We're getting the hell taxed out of us. You know, we're talking about, you're probably familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Let me tell you, we're at the bottom rung right now. So, we feel like we're getting blocked out of the process. That's my little rant. What bills do we all need to be paying attention to next session? And what would you advise us to do to help you guys out?
Well, you certainly need to be active online, and you need to be helping with bringing clarity to these bills. There are a couple of gun bills that I'm very worried about. The speaker clearly had 2 big bills that she wanted to achieve last year. We stopped one of them, which was the magazine ban with regard to your Second Amendment rights. I suspect that they're going to come forward with some form of either magazine ban or red flag type of bill with regard to gun rights. It looks like one of the popular ones we're talking about now is the one about brandishing. And that's also going to go after police as well. You're certainly going to see taxes. They're going to push for more taxes. They're using COVID. Make no mistake, everybody here should know our revenue increased year over year. Even in the height of COVID, our economy still produced more. What they did was they kicked all small businesses in the gut. While the big corporations still were producing massive sales.
Yeah.
People are still producing for the economy, which means we had tax revenue that grew.
So what kind of relief are we going to be seeing?
Well, their relief is going to come in the notion of tax the rich and give to the poor. But they're using COVID as a cover to do that. So they're going to push tax policy that way. I think you're going to see more social programs created around mental health for sure, and to basically justify more spending, again, around the health needs of dealing with COVID. So I think you're going to see those broad categories. I don't want to tell everything because Representative Walsh.
Yeah, I want to leave something for.
But I would just say this: I don't blame the officer, the soldiers that are here, the people that are protecting. They were ordered to do that. They have.
I'm glad they're here.
The unfortunate part is to this gentleman's critique. Where is the other side? I don't feel endangered by any of you here. The truth is, part of representative democracy that they like to use is actually listening to people, the people of the democracy that they like to claim we have. But really, we're a constitutional republic. You are the boss, and therefore we have an obligation to come hear you. And we tried to protect that and stand up for that today. It didn't work with their majority, but the fight's going to continue, and I thank you for putting this on today.
Thank you so much.
Sir, I have a question for you. So,
Well, let me get Representative Walsh up here and give him a chance. He's just as
can I get your name and district real quick?
Representative Jessie Young, 26th District.